Imagine waking up tomorrow, stretching, reaching for your phone. Your partner rolls over and says, "I really didn't miss you while you were sleeping. I actually enjoy having the bed to myself." You try to brush it off and say you slept great, but instead you hear yourself say, "That actually hurt my feelings, and I barely slept because you were snoring." Welcome to the day nobody can lie. For exactly 24 hours, every single human being on the planet is physically incapable of telling a white lie, omitting a relevant fact, or exaggerating a story. You can only speak the complete, unvarnished truth. It is tempting to see this as a moral reset. We imagine a world where every hidden corruption is brought to light and every fraud is exposed. But the first casualties wouldn't be powerful institutions. They would be the small, well-intentioned deceptions that keep a household from collapsing. The polite lie about an outfit or the forced praise of a child's drawing are the protective cushions that prevent daily life from becoming a series of constant, small-scale conflicts. Without those cushions, families face immediate fracture. A mother looks at her child's drawing and admits she has no energy to care about it. A spouse finally voices the truth they've been hiding for years. They only stayed because they were afraid to be alone. The most significant damage occurs when a long-held paranoid suspicion is audibly confirmed by the person you trust most. Hearing a partner state their attraction to someone else out loud with no filter creates a wound that simple suspicion never could. Truth delivered without context or compassion is a weapon. By 7 in the morning, every person on Earth is heavily armed. As people leave their homes and begin their morning commutes, they enter a public world that depends entirely on a shared agreement to play pretend. This diagram shows how a standard coffee shop interaction works. When a barista asks, "How are you?" the exchange is a social ritual. The polite fiction acts as a shield, ensuring that no actual data is transferred. On Truth Day, that shield is gone. A customer admits they are having a panic attack, and the barista admits they couldn't care less. On the subway, strangers are forced to hear every intrusive thought and minor grievance that people usually keep to themselves. Society functions because we agree not to say everything we think. Removing that layer of polite fiction doesn't lead to authenticity. It leads to a volatile and dysfunctional public space. At 9 a.m., the chaos enters the workplace. This is the site of human civilization's most elaborate and sustained dishonesty. In a job interview, the applicant admits they only want the paycheck, while the hiring manager admits the company is desperate to replace an employee who had a mental breakdown. Both parties are forced to reveal the purely transactional nature of the meeting. Operations change immediately. Toxic managers are exposed, failing projects shut down, because lies are impossible. While workplace social harmony is destroyed, operational efficiency becomes unavoidable. When a failing idea can no longer be protected by diplomatic silence, the resources tied up in that deception are finally released. That effect reaches the global level by early afternoon. CEOs on earnings calls are forced to tell investors that their growth is slowing, and their metrics have been strategically manipulated for months. On Wall Street, the institutional scale of the collapse is immediate. Major banks are forced to admit their actual risk exposure, revealing that their public filings were based on optimistic interpretations of bad debt. This is the market reaction when years of creative accounting and optimistic guidance are wiped out in a single afternoon. Global markets enter a free fall as the gap between corporate messaging and reality disappears. In the political arena, the unraveling is just as severe. Elected officials are compelled to admit they don't understand the complex policies they vote on, and that their positions are dictated entirely by the donors who fund their campaigns. The global order is stabilized by the space between what institutions say and do. Closing that gap causes the entire structure to buckle. By late afternoon, a different truth emerges. We suppress beautiful, connective truths as often as we hide our worst impulses. A father finally expresses the pride he's carried in silence for decades. A friend admits the profound impact of a simple act of kindness from years ago. People offer genuine apologies, admitting they were wrong and too proud to say so. Being honest about positive, vulnerable feelings is often as terrifying as revealing negative ones. We keep our gratitude quiet to avoid the discomfort of being truly seen. Truth Day forcefully clears away those performative barriers. The result is a raw, unfiltered connection that we rarely experience because we are too busy maintaining our carefully constructed personas. At midnight, the curse lifts. The ability to lie is restored. But the return to lying is not a return to normal. After 24 hours of seeing the world without its filters, every social lubricant and polite omission requires a deliberate effort to reconstruct. Lying moves from an autopilot reflex to a conscious choice. Kant argued lying is always wrong, yet Truth Day shows unvarnished truth without wisdom is an assault. A world without deception is a world where truth wounds as often as it heals. Identify one truth you have been avoiding, a vulnerable realization that, if shared with care today, could improve the trajectory of a relationship. A carefully delivered truth is an act of love. It is the only thing that can free us from the exhausting prison of our own performance.